Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. Grateful to be with you. Always grateful to be in your company. This is a foundation, baby. We are here jamming on a beautiful day. Grateful to be with your company. Always grateful to be with you. As we continue to talk about national issues of growth and development, out here trying to make a determination as to whether or not we are aligned with the things that we're called to be aligned with in this season, in this time of our lives. Out there, tell me if you've been to the advance poll. Did you vote? Did you go out there? Did you do some things? Tell me if you had a chance to do some stuff out there at the advanced poll and being able to talk about what's happening from a national standpoint. To do your democratic part, to do your right, to contribute, to throw your blow, to make sure that you are in the annals of time and history, to be able to identify that you're in a position that people could say that you was there. I was there, baby. I wanted to be so bad in 2004. In 2004, I wanted to be in Washington, D.C. so bad. You have absolutely no idea. I wanted to be in Washington, D.C. so bad. You have absolutely no idea. No idea. Just to be able to say that I was there when the first black president was sworn in, because we was watching that thing oh my God, we was watching that so hard. And just to know that you're a part of history and history in the making is always sort of a wonderful thing to be able to do in that kind of a space. We're here, guys, and make sure that you tuned in, make sure you checked in, make sure that you are lined up, like and share, and everything that we're doing out there. Make sure that you like and share, let persons know that we're here and we're still jamming. I see people calling me, Howard, where you is, baby? I don't know where you are. I don't know where you are, Howard. Where you going? Where you going? Well, I right here on the people internet, right? On Mark Zuckerberg, them internet, and Bill Walsh, whoever these people is. I still here on the people internet, so we're doing some stuff on the internet, but nonetheless, we're still here being able to do some things traditionally. We are connected in Grand Bahama. More specifically, you can be able to hear us on 103.7 Dove 103.7, being able to see some stuff that we're doing, and it's always grateful to be with you. It's a Friday evening, BIM, warm and easy selector. That's always great, man. As we wrap up the week, you didn't see us yesterday. I know you were trying to figure out, well, where are you going, baby? Well, yesterday was polling day, so I didn't want to be able to join the fray of relentless conversations about what's happening or not happening, because, sometimes you could be able to spill in one area or another. If the bars close, we could be close to. So a lot of things were closed yesterday as it relates to the normal kind of movement of what the city would do. And we find ourselves out here and being able to do some stuff like that. So it's a wonderful day, man. We're here and we're back at it and being able to do those things. Got some numbers, got some information in. Nothing official. Nothing official. Nothing official. There's nothing official. We can't stand here and tell you that from an official standpoint, boom, boom, boom. Nothing official. So we don't have anything official. But we do have some speculation, some information, and based upon, proximity and how some persons were actually in the thing, they can be able to make a determination as to, what they felt. All right. I had an opportunity to be able to speak with 3 people this morning. 3 candidates. I spoke to a candidate from Southern Shores. I spoke to a candidate from Bamboo Town. And I spoke to a candidate from, where was the third place? Bamboo Town, Southern Shores, and South Beach. So just being able to kind of grab and get a sense of what was happening. Right? Guys, I would like you to call me and tell me exactly what was your feeling, what's your thoughts. I listened to a couple of persons yesterday and sort of the position that they've taken as it relates to what was happening in Grand Bahama, right? Starting to talk about this sort of an idea that exists in Grand Bahama that says, I listened to Makopan. Makopan said he's interested. He says it's very interesting, but, shirts don't vote. He said it's interesting. And it led me to speculate. If you say that, Mark, the question is, how does that look? If I got to be able to speculate and try to figure out these particular things, then how does it look? We ain't got much time. Guys, make sure that you could hear me. Let me know if you could hear me on... Let me know if you could hear me on... on the internet. We're here and we could be able to see these things. I remember that was the most people I saw out there, not with the Bahamas News, my boys say, because they looked that was AI. No. I tell you, I spoke directly to the candidates, right? 3 candidates: South Beach, Southern Shores, Bamboo Town. These are 3 important seats. And like I said to you, more specifically, let's get right into it. As I said to you, more specifically, being able to identify these things, let's just be very clear about something. Let's be clear about something now. You and I already started to have this kind of a conversation about this prospect, and we are looking with great interest at Pinewood. We've already indicated that in the event that we've identified that Pinewood has gone contrary, that Pinewood has decided to be able to choose Denari, then we could safely say that the PLP is in turmoil. I got some information today to say that Miles LaRoda for the PLP has, at the advanced poll, perceivably, not actually, not based upon numbers. Nobody count nothing. You know, Joe Bed wouldn't let him count nothing. Joe Bed said, no. Joe Bed ain't into that. That ain't coming out of my sight. The box ain't coming out of my sight today. Joe Bed ain't into that. So she ain't let nobody count nothing. And for the overall concept and idea, I could say this, and I might as well tell you this. It's important that you can identify someone that you can trust in leadership capacities. It's important that you can identify someone that you can trust. It's important that you can identify someone that has the wherewithal to be able to take you through a process that is familiar to them, is familiar to you, may not necessarily be familiar, despite the fact that you're in a different time and an era and so forth and so on. It's important that you can be able to get someone that you can trust. I believe that the leadership from the Progressive Liberal Party trusts Harrison Thompson in this particular capacity. However, and I believe that Harrison Thompson, it has nothing to do with a sense of loyalty. It has nothing to do with a sense of allegiance. It's just that Harrison Thompson, you want to find a seasoned man who understands these particular things, who've gone through this more than enough, and who can be able to help you to get to the objective that you're looking to. And I think that this is important to be able to choose a person who can do that for you. And so I think Harrison Thompson represented that that trusted person, that trusted voice, that steady hand that can take them to a sense of leadership and transparency and social accountability and everything that you're looking for in an electoral cycle. And so there was an idea that Harrison Thompson can be able to do that. And they chose him, and he was good, and he is affirmed. He understands the language of this particular realm. You don't come out here and start saying things. Nobody does that, right? So he's seasoned. He understands these particular things. But he has been identified as incompetent at more than one juncture. Can I say that? Can we have this kind of a conversation with you? Hubert Alexander Ingram has identified him as incompetent over the last by-election and now the reintroduction. Now, he's never said Harrison Thompson is incompetent. Okay? He's never said that Harrison Thompson is incompetent. But whenever Hubert Alexander Ingram speaks with clarity and in a definitive nature with this sort of exclamation and punctuation to say that this is the beginning and the end of this conversation, that is what it is. The only person that you can go to and ask them whether or not this information is accurate is Harrison Thompson. Harrison Thompson has collectively, perpetually, continuously said to us contrary to what Hubert Ingram has said. And Hubert Ingram has been identified as correct on every juncture. Every juncture, Hubert Ingram has been identified as absolutely correct. Hubert Ingram said that there's 2,500 people that we couldn't find, almost 2,500 people that we couldn't find in the constituency of Golden Isles. And I said, well, that cannot possibly be. Say, well, they didn't check these particular things. There are some persons that have moved out. There's some persons that you didn't weave out, that you didn't take out, so forth and so on. I know that I would have been a part of that 2,500 persons who was on the register for Golden Isles, my wife and I, because we would have gotten calls for that particular constituency. We don't live there no more. Now, I don't fault them because we had not transferred. I don't fault them because we hadn't gone through those particular things. After the by-election, we would have done that. So let's be clear about some stuff. When the Ingram has indicated that 2,500, up to 2,500 people were not able to be found on the registry. They didn't exist. They wasn't there no more. It wasn't there, point blank, 2,500 people. Harrison Thompson refutes that position and indicated that we've taken we've gone through this with a fine teeth comb, we've done all these particular things. Then you see Ryan Pinder jump up in the House of Assembly, in the Senate, and being able to speak with clarity that's what this is accurate with Hubert Ingram was saying. I spoke to persons in the Free National Movement and I spoke to persons in the PLP. Just as Hubert Ingram said, you could ask the FNM and you could ask the PLP. I don't care what nobody say to you. 2,500 people we could not find. That's what Hubert Ingram says. I spoke to persons in the FNM, high ranking. I spoke to persons in the PLP, high ranking. These, I don't know how I think they say. I have the numbers. They deliver this information to me. And as I spoke to these particular persons, they indicated that Hubert Ingram was absolutely correct. That was the first juncture, misstep, and representation of the incompetence of Harrison Thompson. Okay? Yesterday, the polling, you would have had all the information for the advance polls. You identify who would have registered for the advance polls. You know exactly their ages. You know which constituency they're coming from. So you know which polling block and division, right? For instance, Jomo and a couple others was right here at C.R. Walker. So there's booked out over here, right? It was booked out over here, right? So that would have been some for this particular thing. You would have had this information in advance. You would have known who would have been registering, just like how Michael Scott would have been able to say the three divisions that you can be able to have: the advance poll, the omnibus, and the foreign persons, right? He called it the omnibus. It's registered in my head, okay? And so as a result of being able to identify that, you should know who come in, when they come in, where they come in, with the expectation after you said there should be a high voter turnout. For one of the constituencies, South Beach, they indicated that about 50% of the persons who were signed up for the advance poll actually came out and voted. About 50% of the persons who signed up for the advance poll came out and voted. And so he doesn't know whether or not that number is 65. He doesn't know whether or not that number could be able to spill to 70. But because of the chaos that existed down there, the lack of preparation, the lack of accommodation for mom and them, and to make sure that they can't stand up on their foot for a long time, none of these things were set up. They didn't put up the tents. They didn't do any of these particular things. They stuffed 200 people into a small room. All these particular things. They did take no consideration for expansion, and they were absolutely ill-prepared. Now, this may not be all on Harrison Thompson, but today we get arrested on him, for Jesus' sake. Today we get to rest this on him wholeheartedly. I don't care if he's FNM or PLP, because both of them are coming out with the very same thing and talking about the incompetence, talking about the lack of preparation, talking about the lack of foresight, talking about what should have been done properly. This is not the first time. This is not the first time. Marvin Dames indicated that this is his third election cycle that he would have been a part of for the past 15 years. And as a result of these particular things, he's recognized that this has been the absolute worst that it has been. There was no preparation. There was no understanding. There was this kind of a rush. Even prior to that, the Free National Movement came out and indicated, hey, we didn't even get the register to be able to identify who's registered. Persons who would have signed up for the registry, persons who would have been able to do these particular things. Hey, listen, they ain't even on the register. You sign up for it. You sign up to be on the advance poll. You sign up to go do all these particular things, and absolutely nothing. 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 Harrison Thompson, today we rest all of this on your shoulders. Hubert Ingram indicated that he is hoping that this kind of perceived skullduggery is nothing more than incompetence, driving home again the concept and idea of incompetence from the leadership standpoint of the Parliamentary Registration Department. Driving home again the concept and idea that incompetence has had its day within the confine of the Parliamentary Registration Department. Now, is it too late to get rid of Harrison Thompson ahead of the general election? Well, the Prime Minister and those who sit at the helm of leadership in the country to identify these particular things, or as the dissolution of the House of Assembly placed them in the position that, all right, this is where it is and this is where it's going to be? Or can Harrison Thompson call in some backup? Because we don't want this at general election. This needs to be smooth. It needs to be free-flowing. It needs to be accessible. It needs to be quick. It needs to be tight. You got to be able to get in there. You got to be able to... you got to vote. You got to do what you got to do. You ain't got no time to be playing no games. When I come out there at 7 o'clock in the morning and I wait on the line for an hour to vote at 8 o'clock in the morning because I got things to do, I don't have the time to be wasting and waiting for 4 and 5 hours and so forth. And so I got things to do. I got to get in there. Howard Grant, this, and this the constituency, all these things. We get to slide through. Let me pop my finger in the situation and get out of there. I got things to do, baby. I can't be sitting down here with y'all all day. I got things to do. Get me in, get me out. I got things to do. Harrison Thompson, this has been a shame. A shame that persons could be able to identify this and say that your leadership has placed them in this kind of a position. This is a crying shame. I'm sorry to say that to you, sir. I respect your age and your commitment to service and what you would have done over the years and so forth and so on. It's great. Okay, praise God for you. But the truth is that there's no way to shake incompetence. There's no way to shake this. There's no way to be able to deflect against this. There's no way to be able to kind of muddy it down and be able to make it seem a little bit better, right? There's no way to be able to do that. This is just what it is. This is just what it is. Okay? And I'm sorry to be able to say that to you, sir. But you could have and should have done better. If you needed assistance, I don't think that we're too big for assistance. If you needed this particular assistance, then you should have found yourself in this kind of a position. This is PLP supporter Richard Johnson being able to speak about those particular things.
Mr. Johnson, looking at the process, I see the lines here. How has the voting process been?
I've not voted as yet. I plan to vote in Pinewood. I can tell you, I'm not impressed with the way it's being run, and if this is chaotic now, you can imagine general election. I believe that we have to really comb this, that it's orderly. For example, I think we have some 1,200 voters today between 3 constituencies, right? Only one gate was allowed to go in. The senior citizens were waiting along, so we had to step in and try to get the traffic flowing. It has to be better organized. It's not organized, in my view. Hopefully, maybe down late in the evening, you could see it'll probably calm down.
Nobody's voted late in the evening. I hear what he's saying and trying to be able to alleviate this sort of an idea of criticism. But the truth is, by the time it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock come, ain't nobody coming to vote. You get a couple of votes at 2, 3 o'clock and whatnot, right? The people will take their break and then go vote the same time and do what they have to do. But that's just not what it is. Everyone comes to vote at the beginning of the morning. Everyone comes in there to do their thing and get out. They get in, get out. They don't have time for this foolishness. All right. This is Cynthia Seeley being able to talk to us about the process. Let's hear it.
I'm a Bahamian. I'm an individual. I'm a senior citizen. I've been here long enough to have noticed everything that's going on in my country. I know that they need to remember that once they get in those positions, remember why you went there. Remember how you got there. So,
Can you tell me how was the voting process for you this morning?
not good at all. I did not like having to stand on that. First of all, I was directed to two wrong areas.
Okay, so this Miss Seeley sitting down and she getting an interview. She's on Guardian. All right, so this is the official Guardian page. You're just putting them out there, putting the mic in people's faces and really asking them questions about the process. And this is about the third persons I would have heard that had this sort of an issue. Let's go again.
You go this way. After I get there, no, you have to go that way. After I would have got there, oh no, what's your last name? Seeley, with a last name like that. Come on. Seeley? I said no, Seeley with an S. Okay. So you're on the line that is from M.
Who are these people? You ever hear any Seeley in the Bahamas? Who are these people sitting down in the room? Who are the people that you engage Seeley? You ever hear any Seeley in this country? You all need to stop it, you know.
To a Z. I go there.
Jeez, they send Mama to Z?
Are you happy with the trajectory?
She ain't happy. You can't hear that? Let's go. Next one. Let's see if we can be able to identify this. Now, I didn't expect this from Lincoln, but this is what Lincoln gave us.
Obviously,
Good
you're
morning.
outside Decade. How was the voting process for you, first of all?
So far, so good. It's been smooth. I haven't voted yet. I'm not voting in the advance poll. We don't trust the advance poll. But so far, it's been a very quiet election. In fact, this is the quietest election that I've ever witnessed. I think you can look at it. It's very quiet.
All right, he didn't change course. I only want to hear the beginning, what he had to say, because he get a different direction. I'm not going to fight him, but that's just what it is. Let's see if we can be able to find some more. Everybody that they spoke to had this kind of a thing. Listen to Hubert Ingram.
To see so many people lining up, exercising their democratic right to vote today.
I feel very good about that because it's very important for Bahamians to come out and vote in large numbers so they can elect the government they want.
What about the tone and temperature of the campaign? What are your thoughts?
Well, there are many issues, but I don't need to dwell on that. I leave it up to the people.
To see so many people.
Hubert Ingram is the consummate politician. He is strategic with his words and always being able to hit you right where it matters in your subconscious. He's done this enough for you to understand. Now, if you don't understand what's happening here, I'll play it again so you could understand, and then we'll go through it. I'll make you to understand what's happening. Here we go.
People lining up, exercising their democratic right to vote today.
I feel very good about that because it's very important for Bahamians to come out and vote in large numbers.
Large numbers.
So they can elect the government they want.
What about the tone and temperature of the campaign? What are your thoughts?
Large numbers will always benefit the free national movement. Large numbers will always benefit the free national movement. He feels very confident about the fact that there are large numbers, so it could be able to fortify his thoughts and ideas that he's already projected and indicated that the free national movement will be victorious. And information that comes to me that says that it'll be based upon what he has said. This is only information that's come to me. He hasn't said this to me. Based upon what he said, the information that I've received and information that has come to me, it says that he believes that the winnings, well, this was sometime back now, I don't know if anything's changed, but that the Free National Movement will be able to acquire 30 seats and the PLP have 11. This is what he's indicated. And large voter turnout will always be able to lean in the direction of the Free National Movement. Now, we saw a lot of people out. We didn't see a lot of PLP shirts, but the PLP came out last evening indicating that they were ahead. Now, how that is no ahead? Who knows? And you're going to Boston. If you have never done campaigning in this country, I will explain to you just very quickly how campaign works in this country. Not a sec. How campaigning work in this country. Let's be very clear. Okay? Now, Howard, how do you know this? I've done this with my mother. Okay? You take a small contingent and grouping to go out to campaign in certain areas. There's a group that identifies, you don't take one group to canvass the whole place. You don't do that. For the most part, you identify people who live in certain areas. Okay? Let's take 8 Mile Rock. There's somebody who knows Sea Grape. There's somebody who knows Holmes Rock. There's somebody who knows Desmond Reef. There's somebody who knows these particular spaces that have campaigned in those particular areas for a very long time and know the people that live in these spaces. And so you canvass with them. They canvass with you. You as a candidate, you go from place to place, and the party has strategic groupings that are set up. So you have a general. Okay? You have a general for this constituency, and that general have lieutenants. Let's just call it like that. And then those lieutenants are responsible for each one of these polling divisions that they know their people in this polling division, okay? In the polling division, they identify where their support lies. When they come to you in your house with these pads, they ask you a question, who's you, who's your mom, how much vote you got in the house, so forth and so on. And we're asking you straightforward, would you support the PLP? Would you support the Free National Movement? Would you support the DNA, the COI, whatever, right? And you said, well, I don't know, I can see, so forth and so on. So they put you down as a shaky thing, right? And in other instances, they, well, you know, I've been an FNM my whole life. Well, the PLP knows that they're not going to be able to get your support, right? And vice versa. You PLP your whole life, the FNM knows they're not going to get your support, right? So when you show up to the poll, most persons who support the organization will flash you a little sign or look at you, okay? They look at you, whatever, right? There is a very subtle way that you can be able to identify. So facial recognition or flashing you something to let you know that my support leans with you. You come out after the election, after you voted, you go to the tent of your choice. You say to those particular persons, listen, this is where my support lies. I'd like to have a shirt. I'd like to have this. I'd like to have that. Tell my member of parliament I need to see him, so forth and so on. But y'all got this one, right? You acquire that information. After you acquire this information, you tabulate, right? So you know 1,200 people come to vote in this particular polling division. From the polling division, only 650 people came out and said such and such and such. 400 people has given us some indication that they voted for us. You could tell you ahead. You could tell you ahead. Now, this is not accurate information, but this is an estimation, a guesstimation, based upon what's happening and the flow of what's going on in these particular areas. Y'all got to get more involved with Bahamian politics. Y'all need to understand how Bahamian politics doesn't work like how you think it works in America. It doesn't work like that. Bahamian politics is very personal, very personable, right? And it's a contact sport. You have to understand how to be able to measure this, how to gauge this, how to identify this, how to do these particular things. And once you identify that, measure it, you gauge it, you could be able to put it and say, listen, that's Ms. Bueller. Ms. Bueller is a PLP, boom, boom, boom. She got 5 votes in her house. Ms. Bueller is the only one who voted in the advance vote. This is work, man. I hate politicians who's come in this thing, don't know what. Y'all don't know nothing, man. Nothing. You ain't study nothing. You ain't sit down under nobody, no tutelage. You just come in here. I think I can be the next member of parliament for this constituency. And I think you should give me the opportunity. You ain't never sit under nobody. You don't know how the rhythm ride. You don't know how nothing go. Nothing. And you want me to vote for you. You don't even know if you win or not. 1 o'clock in the day, this is how politicians know if they win or lose. By 1 o'clock in the day, they've already tabulated the information and identified that come hell or high water, statistically, we don't expect to see more than 65% of the people coming out to the poll, with 60% already voted by this particular time, and it's already 3 o'clock in the day. We don't expect to see another 40% of people show up at the last moment. That has not happened in this country statistically. So who voting, they've already voted. And who's not voting, they probably won't vote. So statistically, if all remains the same, the PLP got it. Statistically, if everything remains the same, the FNM has it. Who you all sit with? You all don't know how to walk on the road. You don't know how to approach people. You don't know how to... This is peculiar. This is peculiar. So we identify those things, and we take that and we identify that and take it from there. We're talking, man. We're talking with clarity, we're talking with strength, and we're talking about these particular things. Now, as we talk about this, I got to let you know with clarity. I got to let you know very clearly, there is, like I said, a level of disappointment that's actually being able to spill out there. And also, by now, even if there's not a sense of transparency and honesty that's coming out from major political organizations, they know who's ahead. I've gotten information that the Free National Movement and the independent candidate in Kalani are ahead in Kalani. That's the information I've received. Okay? I've gotten information that Owen Wells in St. James is ahead. That's the information I received. Okay? I've gotten information, like I said to you, from Pinewood that Miles LaRota is ahead. That's the information I received. Remember, this information is not as a result of tabulation. This information is not as a result of accuracy to be able to say that such and such definitely has it. This information is based upon this guesstimation that I'm telling you, based upon this kind of these things that exist in this space. That's how this information goes. That's how it goes. Okay? And so let's talk about these things. Hit me up, 827-0111, 827-0111, all the way out there, wherever you are, throughout Grand Bahama. If you could be able to hear me in Grand Bahama, throughout the internet land, if you're being able to identify those things, listen up and let's have this kind of a very clear conversation about where we are and where we headed. Howard, say that again. You cut out. Okay. I shouldn't have cut out. Looking at everything. Everything looked like it's level. Hold on. What you want me to say again? Which part? Man, you cut out on the good parts. Can you hear me? Is it? Am I having an issue? Am I having an issue online, guys? Give me a text and let me know. Because I'm looking at it, all my levels are looking good and everything is looking well online. Let me know if we're having any issues or anything like that. We're talking now. Let's be very clear about this, okay? Let's be clear about this. Like I said, I can go again. Let's go again. I received information this morning that Hubert Minnis and Michaela Barnett are pulling ahead in the constituency of Kalani. Did you hear that? Oh my God, I can't believe the thing say you're buffering. Oh Jesus, hold on. Can you hear me now? I good? It should be good. All right. In the constituency of St. James, we would have received information this morning that it appears, based upon the tabulation and the guesstimation that everyone has traditionally gone by, it appears that Owen Wells and the PLP are pulling ahead. In the constituency of St. James, Owen Wells and the PLP appears to be pulling ahead. In the constituency of South Beach, Barkis Roll and Darren Henfield seem to be neck and neck. In the constituency of Bamboo Town, the information that we received indicates that Dwayne Sands is pulling ahead. In the constituency of Southern Shores, we got information that indicates that the constituency of Southern Shores, that Obi Roberts for the PLP is pulling ahead. We haven't gotten anything for Pinewood as just yet. And we haven't gotten anything for the other constituencies. We're waiting for those things to be able to come in. He told me that Seabreeze is doing well in terms of retention for Leslie. Elizabeth is doing well in terms of retention for JoBeth Kobe. So it seems like that's what we're looking at. Yeah, for Obi. They tell me that Obi is ahead in South Beach. Now, but how does we need an advance poll? They say much people in advance, blah, 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 whatever you say. Right? Okay, let's be very clear about this. The advance poll has always been a cursor, a barometer, a litmus, an indication, a forecast, if you will, for what your expectations could be in the general election. Remember this. Politics is social science, okay? It's a social science, okay? Let's just be very clear about this. It's not an accurate thing. It's a social science. It goes with emotion. It goes with feelings. It goes with these particular things. All right, guys, if you hear the jackhammer in the background, don't fight me. Let it happen, because that jackhammer is putting up my antenna. Chateau Manande. Hey, glory to God. It's putting up my antenna. So you can be hearing me live and in full effect next week. Oh, God. My antenna is going up. Okay, praise Jesus. All right, so if you hear the jackhammer, don't fight me. You could hear me, okay? So let's just go through it, okay? Now, this is a social science. Let's just be very clear, okay? This is a social science. This is a community science. This is based on the ebbs and the winds and the flows and the ups and the downs of a man and his emotion or her emotions and how they feel, and making a determination as to whether or not they're going to determine if they vote for you or they vote against you. If they do these particular things, they are going to be able to move in a particular direction. Let's talk about this. Let's be clear about this. Let's just do this right now. Okay? Social science says to me that all of us have the same estimate. Now, let's be very, very clear. The PLP start to be able to gauge about what was happening from a regional standpoint. They looked at what was happening with Andrew Holness in Jamaica. They looked at Mia Motley. They looked at the Grenadines. They look at that, right? St. Martin and the Grenadines, right? With Gonzalez, they looked around the region to get the sentiment of what was happening around the region. Now, this is a deep thing. This is a deep thing. And a lot of people like to ignore the spirituality and the spiritual element that exists in these particular spaces, but there is a spirituality. Whether it's articulated, whether it's identified, whether you know it or you don't know it, there is a spirituality that exists here. Remember this. In World War II, when we had a conversation with who's passed on now, former cabinet minister in that particular capacity for immigration. Jesus God, why his name slide out of my head just now? Right? When we had a conversation with him, and he was down there in Cat Island, and when he started to be able to speak about that with clarity, somebody text me and tell me what this man named. Jesus God, what happened to my head just now? Jesus, Loftus Roker. Jesus, where did that go just now? Where did that go just now? My mind all over the place trying to figure out these things. Anyway, don't fight me. Let's go with me. We had a conversation with Loftus Roker, right? And in speaking with Loftus Roker said to us that how would we were poor? We didn't know we was poor, but we just knew that this is what we did for survival. Right? So I said, so what did you do? He said, well, we was in Auckland and Cooked Island and whatnot. And we didn't know that the war was going on because we didn't have any information, any access to these particular information, but we just knew that these things was happening, right? So this was by the Second World War. He telling me how they had to do sweet potato and yam and survival in these particular areas. So I asked him, I said, well, how did you know? How did you survive? He said, this is how we was living. He said, when I needed something, I'll boil one potato and eat that and satisfy and make do with that, right? He said, when I went off to school, I had 10 cents in my pocket, I would eat this and all these things that he was absolutely oblivious to what was happening around him because of the lack of communication. Now we could be able to make a determination and identify what's happening around the world. But before, we did not have this information, not accessible to us to understand what was happening around the world. Let's be very clear about this. In 1944, it was 44 or 46? In the 40s, let's do that. When the Bremer Road riot happened, if you look around the world, there was a release that happened at the same time. I tell you, these things are spiritual. There was a release that happened in the world, and this sort of a concept, an idea for liberation crept into the world, okay? One space at a time. When there was this sort of a fight and being able to jockey for a particular position, by the 50s and the 60s, there was a unified effort and a desire to be able to see things move in a particular direction. It didn't matter whether you was from the Bahamas, from Jamaica, from St. Lucia, from Barbados, from Canada, from Greenland. It didn't make a difference where you were from. The world was poised for transformation. And as a result of this kind of a position, things happen through unlikely characters and individuals and so forth and so on. When America was ready for liberation, not necessarily the people who were in power, these are the traditional people that always sit at the helm, that seek, and we talked about this the other day, that seek to be able to keep the status quo. All they want to do is keep the status quo. Yeah, because they seek to be gods. Oh, God, I just get preaching. I need to calm down. I got to calm down. The traditional men seek to be gods, and they seek to retain this particular position. And what do we know about God? God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So that's a principle that you have to be able to apply. You have to be able to retain and maintain this particular sphere, because you are a king on this plane. On this plane, this is where you are king. You are a king right here. And if it goes up higher, you lose your throne because you don't know how to operate at a different level and a different frequency. You could only operate right here. That's why in our country, these old men, and I got to say old men because it ain't a bunch of old women or seasoned women in these strategic positions. They're quiet at best, just being able to retain these particular positions. But they are old men that hold and wield significant power. And as a result of this power that they wield, they will do whatever they can do to keep these things the same. They don't want to change nothing. And for a young man to get that, you can't ask for power. You got to take that from them. This is a spiritual thing. I'm getting somewhere with you. This is a spiritual thing. The release that happens, I call it the trade winds. You ever hear the song? It's a whining song. Trade winds are blowing, blowing around and all around me. What do I see? Unhappy faces. They're living in sin and shame. Reflections of the past. This is one of my favorite. I love the whinings. I don't know. That's probably why I love the Cooling Water so much. My dad used to listen to the thing the whole time. Right? I know all of their songs. Now, not as much, I don't know much Commission. I like Commission. But the whinings, ooh, all of their stuff. From I was a little child, if I want to go back to a happy place, I turn on the whinings. I remember singing them songs as a child. Not necessarily knowing what those are, but I just like it. And as I grew, I understood exactly what these trade winds that blow into life, that change from one season to another, that carry information, charged with information, these winds, that charged with information, this determination, this kind of activation, that being able to spill through your nostrils and activate you to cause you to move in one direction or another. Move. If God is the author and the finisher of our faith, this information shows us that there's another chapter coming. These trade winds introduce us to another chapter that's coming. Now, we as men don't necessarily articulate it from a spiritual standpoint, but we understand that there is a shift that happens, and the shift is not isolated to us. The shift is identified through the body of people like us. So other Negroes who are out throughout the Caribbean who are looking for change, looking for growth, looking for development. Did they retain this particular thing? Did they reject this particular thing? And now you make a determination with your social science whether or not the likelihood of you being able to move based upon what's happening and what's being charged in the atmosphere. You don't believe that those things happen. How I know you're talking a bunch of foolishness. You don't believe those things happen, but I guarantee you, this is what's happening. This is how you engineer the victory that you seek. So you use information from these other spaces and you drop it into your social pockets in your environment. You take what's happening and you drop it. Boom. Andrew Holdings was able to retain it. Boom. You drop it. The PLP wants to say congratulations to Andrew Holdings in his capacity. Boom, 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 boom. Right. It's important. You identify what's happening with Mia Motley. Boom. The PLP would like to say congratulations to Mia Motley being able to see such a marvelous victory. She's retained this particular seat more than once. Boom. You drop that. You dropping these things into the subconscious. This is social engineering. Y'all don't ever want to talk to me. You just want to be naive and just go along with the get along. You don't want to never take the red pill to wake up. You just want to go along with the get along, and you don't want to know this is the matrix, and you want to be able to imagine these particular things, but you don't want to know that this is what's happening. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is not a game. This is what it is. You identify that, and now they're making a determination of how the Bahamian people would react by more than one thing. Whether or not we were strategic enough and being able to craft a concept in your mind, and whether or not there is a desire with this charged atmosphere to retain a particular power. With the retention of those particular things and the retention of that power, you would have a very clear understanding that the PLP doesn't anticipate that the country has an appetite for immediate shift right now. That's the general consensus that spilled out of the PLP. That is the general consensus that spilled out of the PLP. Again, somewhere with y'all right now. Are you ready to travel with me? Are you ready to travel with me? The general consensus that spilled out of the PLP is that this is what we're doing. We sticking with this. This is how we riding. This is how we rolling. This is what we into. This is the message. Everyone carry this message. Remain consistent, persistent in this kind of a position. When you speak with clarity to these things, and you say such and such and such and such and such. Okay? This is what you do. Okay? Now, here comes Perry Gladstone Christie being able to speak as they put the microphone in his face. He know the mission. He know the position. He know the social science. He know what is being said from far and wide. And he's still rattled by his interaction with this particular congregation and taking nothing else into consideration. He believes that the emotions of the Bahamian people will place them back in a position of being able to do the exact same thing that they've done over the past 5, 6 election cycles. Let's hear it. Uh-oh, where are we? Hold on. Hold on.
That Michael Pintard has
Hold on.
still canvassing those voting sites. Former Prime Minister Perry Christie admitting today that Michael Pintard has a chance as the opposition leader, even if slight, at being the country's next prime minister, noting that in his time on the political scene, the electorate played musical chairs with leaders, and
Watch
that
this.
didn't change in the 2021 general election,
Watch
seemingly
this.
paving the way for the same to happen this time around.
Based on historical precedent, he has a chance because no one has been able to win a consecutive term since Hubert Ingram did it in 1997. And so I won in 2002 to reverse that after I took over the leadership from Lyndon Finley.
Watch this.
And then I thought I would win in 2007.
Hold on, Perry. Hold on, Perry. I got to call you Perry now. Because this ain't a statesman's-like posture. You didn't know what your party said. You didn't know what the deal was. You didn't know what our responsibility is. You know we going for victory. You know we going for 2 straight. We ain't got no time to be planting no kind of foolishness in people's subconscious at the advance poll. We ain't into that. We got a mission, baby. And all of us on mission. Now, everybody got the same chance. Everybody got the same chance when you're in the starting block. And the starting block start and finish on one day. I don't care what you say. The starting block start on May 12th at 8 a.m. in the morning. And when the polls close at, I think it's 8 p.m. in the evening. Okay? You got 12 hours to run your race. Okay? You hear me? The starting block start at May 12th in the morning and end in the evening. So, with any technicality, everyone has a chance to win because none of us know the outcome. How am I talking? None of us knows the outcome. Nobody knows what's going to happen on that day, but all of us start on ground zero. Now, your preparation, your building, your access to finances and material to be able to build your building quicker than I can build my building, who dealing with only these 2x4 and 1 ply what I got here, we'll be able to make a determination. But every one of us, on the same time, they say, on your mark, get set, go. So Perry Christie took on this kind of a position and speaking with clarity. And he says something that I don't even think that he's considered something. What did we say? That politics is what?
Economy is the best it's ever been.
Politics.
And so
Politics is a social science. Social. It goes with emotion and what was happening. Let's listen to this.
So I won in 2002 to reverse that after I took over the leadership from Lyndon Finley. And then I thought I would win in 2007. The economy was the best it's ever been. But, you know, I got a lot of seats, but I lost the elections.
Never taking into consideration, he looked at money. See? The Bahamian people are tethered. They are pillars of our society that is absolutely immovable. They're unshakable, and it's absolutely undeniable. If you are in a political realm, you have to see this glaring, this beaming pole that is unshakable. And many a good politician genuflects to this pole. Many a good a politician understand that this is a beam that holds up society, and that beam is the values of Christianity. Now, it ain't that everybody's a Christian, saved, sanctified, full of grace, love Jesus Christ and doing these particular things. But there is a value that we hold to these poles that hold up the tenets of our society. There is a value that we have to these poles. We are the same people who put the ram away when you get in church, fix up your necktie. You didn't drunk now. You try to wipe off the drunk off your face. You try to wipe your face off. You try to shake yourself up. When you pass in the church, you take your time. Listen, alcoholics understand policy and procedure as it relates to being able to go to church and so forth and so on. Perry Gladstone Christie took none of these things into consideration. He just saying what he's saying based upon the expectation of everybody looking at money. But the word of God said, choose ye this day who you can serve, God or mammon. He talking to us about mammon. and how Mammon was straight, and we had all these things together with Mammon, but never took into consideration that gleaming, beaming pole that every one of us acknowledge in this society, which was Christianity. His cabinet in 2002 to 2007 was the explanation or an example of political debauchery. I can't even get no amen. Y'all don't want to talk to me about this. His cabinet, speculations, allegations, assumptions, and other things placed us in a position to identify the level of debauchery that was coming, the level of carnality that was the level of the self-desire that spilled out, not only locally, it didn't spill out locally, Bahamian people don't have a problem with you just us rowing on the inside. They never had a problem with that. We could row amongst ourselves, praise God. We can row amongst ourselves, but when the row get out into the international arena, it's a problem. And 2002 to 2007 was a clear example of an exploitation and this sort of expose of carnality and perceived corruption that came out of Perry Christie's cabinet in 2002 to 2000. He took none of that into consideration. All he would tell us about is Mammon. And Mammon was straight. Listen, Mammon straight, baby. We got this covered. What you want? Jesus, it's money. We got the money, baby. Put us back. We don't want your money, Perry. We want decency and in order. You got to go. And don't mind Perry Christie, Don't mind him saying these particular things. There is a level of ego associated with these particular things, as Brave Davis is able to do something that he was unable to do. Brave Davis is on the cusp of being able to do something that Perry Christie was hoping for but was unable to do. Y'all, let me get deep with this conversation, Perry Christie was hoping for 2 times. Bang, bang. He was hoping that, well, they give Ingram a chance, the second go round. They can give me a chance. Never considering the fact that the country didn't see him as a strong leader during that time. That he couldn't put his cabinet in order. He couldn't put his people in check. He couldn't move this cabinet minister from here. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. These fellas they was wilding out. Like the Central Park 5. They was wilding out. And he didn't do anything about it. We were supposed to swallow that and just deal with it. Oh, we fixed it for him. Boom. He gone. Boom. Gone. He didn't take that into consideration. And you're making your evaluations and your determination. All these things got to be able to be on the table. And what's on the table is based upon what he said. The first thing that he focused on was money. But not necessarily the sanctity. The presentation. No, he didn't go, you don't have to go to cabinet and say, listen to me, before you come into this cabinet, you got to be baptized. Call somebody and baptize these men before they get. No, that ain't what he's saying. That ain't saying, listen, all of us in cabinet today, I want you to lift your hands all over cabinet. Okay. Listen, I want you to repeat after me. Jesus, I'm a sinner. I ask you to cleanse me clean and come into my heart. That's not what we're saying to you. We're saying your presentation has to reflect the pillar that all of us understand and still stand by and stand with, that holds up this society when everything else fell down. This is the only thing that we had, which is our faith, which is our relationship with God. Whenever we had an issue, whenever the country was under a natural attack and being able to identify hurricanes from left, right, and center and all these particular things, when there was an economic influx, when we didn't have these particular things, we turned to the one pillar that remained steadfast and stand strong, which was Jesus Christ. And we ain't going against him with the representation of being able to dive into debauchery. We ain't going to do that. We didn't tell you that you have to be saved, sanctified. We didn't tell you that you can't be. We don't want to know if you're gay or you're straight. That ain't our business. But we saying to you, when you come out here, brother, you better know how to dress and present yourself accordingly, with decency and in order. We don't get in your business. Ain't nobody asks you how much woman you have and how much woman you don't have and what you're doing with it. That is none of our business. In fact, we were sure that men and women of the past who led this country with strength, and we knew that they were held up by Jesus Christ, we did not know their business. Now there's some murmurs on the street that talk about who got how much baby and how much baby mother and this and that and all that. That didn't come before formality in this country. But in 2002, you let all of this spill right out. Your cabinet, your leadership, and you will know why you lose. All over the punch, all over, not only the punch, all over, all kind of, what they call it, tabloids, all over the world. All over the world. Aliens had this information saying, you see what happened in the Bahamas? Beep, 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 beep. Look what's going on. Beep, beep, beep. We were shame. 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 And you ask why you lose. And then ego popped in. Ego popped in the middle of this conversation, and he remembered. He remembered something. He remembered that.
But I lost the elections.
Hold on now. He remembered that he's a team player. So he tell you what he had to tell you. Hubert Ingham does the exact same thing. You know, when these men get to a certain position nationally, and they're viewed and emulated and in some instances idolized, sometimes ego, you wrestle with this sort of an ego, just like Saul, right? You wrestle with this sort of an ego. And I say this with the greatest degree of respect because I've told you before, Perry Christie, he was one of my favorite prime ministers. I say was because, you know, I think Brave out here fighting for number one spot. He doing a lot. Okay? So let's just look at this. And then he remember he's on the team. Listen to what he says.
In 2007, and I came back in 2012 and won. So if you look at that,
he skipped so much. He came back in 2012 so much. He skipped so much to tell you this. He skipped so much to tell you that the Bahamian people required him to apologize to them. He skipped so much that to tell you that he came back to the Bahamian people with an acknowledgement and being able to say, I'm sorry for what I've done and I will do better if you would afford me an opportunity. Don't skip that. Don't skip that. Don't skip that. That's important. Because you can't get restoration without being able to say, give an admittance that there was an infraction, that there was a sin, that there was a position that we would have taken contrary to the call that God has called upon our life and to the call that you've had to this great auspicious position. Don't skip that. Don't skip that, baby. Don't skip that.
You say, yes, Pindar does have a chance.
But still with a natural bias for the party he once led, he says he hopes to see Prime Minister Philip Davis returned as the country's leader.
For me, I'm very hopeful that he could have a second term and he could go on to do some of the things that they're promising to do. Right now, the country is facing the challenge of whether or not it will continue with a one-term government, which is not conducive to good governance, right? And we're hoping that the argument, we are hoping for the Progressive Liberal Party, that the argument put forward by them, that they've done good work and they need a consecutive term to finish their work or bring it as near to being finished as possible in the best interest of the country. We're hoping that that argument is understood and bought into by a majority of the Bahamian people.
I need you to understand how much I enjoy this thing. I need you to understand something. I love this thing. I love it. I love it. I love this thing. I don't know why. I don't know where this come from in my life. I love it. I love politics in this little country. I love it. I love these Negroes. I enjoy this thoroughly. I enjoy it. I don't think Rick Fox is enjoying it so much, but I enjoy it. What he perceived as bullies, I just understand that this is what exists and what has existed. And you have to be crafty, sharp, smart enough to know how to navigate what you expect. Because for the most part, these traditional men ain't doing nothing new. They doing the same old thing. But because you new to the concept and you never study nothing, you see it in a different manner. The same thing you do to them. They listen. This is the Bahamas. I could break down all these things to you. Rick Fox, Bradley Kemp, who was the vice president of the Progressive Liberal Party, the day before the advance poll, he came out, he put some stuff up, and then you saw, all this is documented. You saw some F&M stuff surrounding the PRP's camp, the PRP's tent. And that is not, anybody who knows how these things are set up could have tell Rick, that don't go like that. I blame y'all. I blame y'all. And I blame the party for sending naive people around there looking for fight. I blame y'all. Anybody who knows that the unspoken rule that exists in politics is that you identify your slot, you identify your space, and your grouping stays together. Even the DNA knew that. You have to identify your slot. You have to put your particular things there. You put it close to the road. You don't put yourself in the back of nobody's tent. You identify your slot outside of the realm of the office. The voting space. And you plant your stuff there. You do that the night before. And depending on how things are, you make sure somebody stay out there, put their car under there, sleep in their car, and stay under the tent. This is the tradition that exists in this country. You can't, if you see the man thing set up around him, or set up in the front of him and whatnot. That is not how it goes. Now, I don't agree with Bradley cussing the fella. I don't give a beep, 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 I don't, you understand what I'm saying? But Bradley's frustration is quantified. He could be able to, he could qualify his frustration because you knew, all of y'all FNMs who was here knew the tradition of what existed in this particular space. You knew that we genuflect and give space to formality and first come, first serve. If you had that space first, we don't bother with that. And Rick Fox didn't know. He's, well, if that's the law, Rick Fox, everything ain't written in law. There were some things that are actually done in this country. And that's why I tell you, you rolling with the wrong people in this country. I see you rolling with these fellas like you from Hollywood. This ain't Hollywood, baby. This the Bahamas. You can't roll with the acronyms. Who's the acronyms? What did we say? We said lettuce, green peppers, bell peppers, I don't know what this tea is, and quesadilla, tomatoes and quesadilla. You can't roll with the acronyms who can give you the pomp and pageantry of the concept and don't go with the tradition who understands where the bodies are buried, proverbially, and where the goalposts exist. I blame the Free National Movement for that. Then you call people bullies, but you don't know the process, and you don't know the country, and you don't know how these particular things go. When somebody says something to you, you get offensive, and you believe that they should not tell you these particular things. There is a way that we conduct ourselves from a political standpoint. Ain't nobody getting wrapped up in a newspaper or wrapped up in a tie and getting lit. We don't do those things. But there is an order that we expect you to be able to adhere to and genuflect to. There's a lot more to talk about. Guys, let's take this first commercial break. Let's be able to do these things. I know I didn't talk my guts out, but I had to talk about these things. And so we can take this commercial break. And when we get back, we can dive into a little bit more about these things. In the papers, it says chaos. There's a lot of things going on. Quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this. Maurice, let's take this break. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Foundation with Howard Grant, jamming with you, having a great time on this beautiful Friday evening. Bim, warm and easy selector, being able to jam with you. Always grateful to be in your company. My guys, make sure you check me out. 103.7 in Grand Bahama, Dove, 103.7 in Grand Bahama, all over the internet, Foundation 242 at all the platforms. And you can definitely be able to check me out, foundation242.com, foundation242.com. Guys, get yourself prepared. If you're living in Nassau, please set your thing now. 89.5 FM, 89.5 FM radio. We're here live and in full effect. We can be able to be up and running hopefully by next week. May 1st was our date. Can I say this to you? Listen. May 1st was our date to be able to be up and running. That was the date, right? We asked some people to do some stuff for us. And the number they give me, I said, oh, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. Listen. Forget about a hole. You know, sometimes, you get holes in your underwear, right? It's like, oh, I get a couple holes. Whatever. Right? These are the most comfortable set. I wear these at home, right? Yeah. Forget about a hole. I'll only have the elastic. After that, I can't afford that. And so the opportunities is wonderful to be able to do that, right? We got Pat calling in. Pat, good afternoon, my dear. What's happening with you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How things?
Everything's good, I made it out to the polls yesterday.
Oh, you did advance? Okay.
Yeah, I did advance yesterday, my husband and I.
Okay.
And it was at Carbon Tides.
Yeah.
And, I had to have access to a wheelchair as well as one of those folks. But it went seamlessly. I was fortunate. I must say I was very fortunate. But the thing is, the critiques of what happened yesterday, they're valid. In some instances, they're very valid. That it should have been more thinking ahead when you look at the numbers that registered. That requested that by having more rooms, classrooms, availability.
Yeah.
Because for the amount of persons who needed to have those wheelchairs and the amount of seniors that were there yesterday, I think they really miscalculated what went down yesterday. So that has to be rectified. Going forward. Something. And I saw that they sent out a statement. In reference to what they took accountability for it, and I think that's a good thing. But it has to be something has to be done because our seniors and fellow behemoths, disabled persons, and whatever have been coming go through that. Never again should I be allowed to have happen.
I agree with you.
But like I said, everything else went, like I said, with the bottleneck and everything, I was lucky. I was lucky.
But listen, let's read in the papers today. It says the Parliamentary Registration Department says it wasn't prepared for the unprecedented turnout. It says the Parliamentary Registration Department yesterday acknowledged that it was not ready to meet the unprecedented turnout of voters at yesterday's advance poll. Thousands of voters across New Providence and Grand Bahama, many of whom were elderly or disabled, had to wait for long hours in the hot sun. Now, how could that possibly be if Harrison Thompson already tell us he expect more than 80 to 85% of the people to turn out? This means only what Hubert Ingram said. This is incompetence. That's all this is.
Yeah, that should not, because if you say, okay, this is the largest registration that we've had, I think in history or since X amount of years ago.
Yeah.
Over 200,000 persons have registered. Okay.
Yeah.
You then have the advanced poll persons requests. So when you say over 20,000 persons have are going to participate in the advanced polls. The training and meetings, and I put this to the oldest one. I mean, the parliamentary, this is his falls on him because he is the commissioner.
Yes.
Right? His team, it falls on him. However, when you have persons from all parties who they claim they have meetings every week or twice a week, and looking at all of these events. I think somewhere along they missed the ball in reference to even having wheelchairs, having enough wheelchairs, having making these preparations for these persons. Because if most people get up from work, you have 3 hours to vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
People go there for like 4 or 5 all day, and that's a turn off. That's a turn off. So if there's no way that you could not have anticipated this and thinking maybe that they're not going to show up, you can't do that. So like I said, this falls on him, and I think he'll be making provisions after this election to do what he has to do as far as with making room for someone else, so that the new person or whoever steps in that spot can actually plan these things for local government elections, all of these different things for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And so that things can be better next time, because this should never have been allowed. Although I heard Mama was in the ambulance or something, but she catch herself, she said, "Take me back. I have to go back. I gotta vote.
I didn't hear that part. When she was in the ambulance. Where you getting? They was getting the wrong way.
I gotta go back. It's a lot, and trust me, a lot of those seniors, they made a lot of difference, because a lot of those candidates who ran to be in a favorable position today, to be slightly ahead today. But like I said, going forward, you need to have a section for just to disable for those wheelchairs. You need to have the ramps. You need to have the rooms, even for the voters. Right now people are more, and the thing is, they were doing such a drive, such a registration drive to get persons to become interested, to get more involved, and to participate in the electoral system. And now that you have it, you've got our attention, and then you drop the ball.
Yeah.
I know he has to take full responsibility of this. And I would admonish future, even going into the next couple of days, the persons, the candidates, and the parties, to ensure that their persons, when they're calling around, to make sure you're coming or whatever days or week before, find out. The way you call if you need a ride, find out these different things and request if you can help. You understand? The party or whatever have these things available, because another problem too was that persons were with these wheelchairs. There was like a pull and tug, a war with wheelchairs. There weren't enough, and it was like a bunch of back and forth with the wheelchair access as well. So you need to have these things in place and make things as comfortable as possible. I think Leslie Bryce, I have to commend persons when they do well. It seems as if she had, at least that area, that school there, Sadie Curtis, they were well organized in there. Some of the places were organized, some of them were organized. They anticipated, what do you say it, Howard? You anticipate the unexpected or whatever like that.
That's how you do it.
And you plan.
But that's a part of being a coordinator. You understand?
Yes.
So if they put you in charge as the head, okay. So let's say as the head of Junkanoo, okay. I'm not out here to figure out how much bleachers I need and where I can strategically put the bleachers and how I can flow with the bleachers and where they can put the bathroom close to the bleachers and all. I ain't into all of that. I know we need bleachers, we need bathroom, we need this, we need that. I'm responsible for the overall aspect, but some person responsible for these particular things. And then when we meet, right? Pat, you look like you hang up. I don't know what happened, right? And then when we meet, okay, go ahead, Pat. I got you now. Pat. Go ahead.
Yep. I was on to my second point.
Yeah, go ahead. No, what I'm saying to you is this. Let me say this. But after we have, so what I used to do in a hotel, we had what is called a pre-con. We call it a pre-con, which is a pre-convention. This is a table, this is in a U shape or a square, right? It's a table with 40, 50 people sitting at the table for one convention. 50 people sitting at this table. All right, what about drinks? What about food? What about location? What about this? What about that? How they can get their bags here? Who can take the bags in? No. This is the pre-con. This is how we do pre-con. You understand?
Right.
You could sit there and just expect everything to go well? Who buying the tents?
Yeah, no,
Where the
it
tents can
doesn't-
be?
yeah,
Come on, man. They dropped the ball. They dropped the ball.
Yeah, that was a real dropping of the ball yesterday. But my second point is Mr. Christie. Mr. Christie, right?
Yeah.
At first, when I heard him, when I listened to him, I feel like at first I was saying, okay, time to put Mr. Christie back, take him back home and put him to bed now. But you know when I listened
Go ahead, man.
enough the storm is over and all that nice. But guess what? I love that man. You know why?
I still love him.
What he said. But no. What he said. We have to. He speaks and he's a, you know what they say, pontificate, whatever. But
Yeah.
listen, there's a message in what he said.
Yeah.
And when I had time to really actually think about it, he made an excellent point. And the point is this: he had this experience and whatever. And when you look at the overall, it's a switch up for every 5 years. There's a switch up being made and happening, and persons are expecting, and a lot of persons are depending on that and saying that it's going to happen because of history and things that happened prior. And I think at the end of the day, he's saying, yes, Mr. Pintar has a good chance of winning because of past situations. However, what this says, and I always say it, the government or the PLP cannot rest on their laurels. They cannot sit down and coast the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks because you have a big, huge crowd at your rallies.
I agree with you.
And all of these different things, because a lot of them, they pull back and they ease up. They don't really.
They stop spending money. They stop spending money. They stop going out. They start to get lax. I hear arrogance coming out of the thing. And then this morning,
some of them, yes.
who thought they was ahead ain't ahead.
And the ones who people said were already written off are doing well because I'm in touch with a lot of persons as well who work, because I understand about the poll as far as we can. We're saying, and when you in that room and you can mark, when you see people coming, you know who your people are. You have to have a grasp of who your people are and if they show up.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is for them to show up and do what they're supposed to complete the assignment, right? And that and then you have a basic idea of what's happening in that. But I still don't think, because certain areas are ahead, it's time to ease. This is the time now, and I think what Mr. Christie is saying, okay, hey, Pintar can that will encourage persons from the other side to actually press that gas. I watched and I observed persons yesterday, and I saw Mr. Former Prime Minister Menes. They had 2 tents. I think each group had 2 tents. And if you look at my observation, if you look and you see the persons out there and under the tents, and even him, Mr. Dr. Menes, you would see you were seeing more or less like a rejection, or like when a person is more or less just sitting down, and you understand what I'm saying? You're trying, but a few persons who were there, and it didn't seem as if he had that much of a support system out there yesterday. And I'm not saying that you can rest on your laurels or look at that as any indication. But like you said, you have persons who know their people and who promise you things or whatever else, I guess, so you would do. But I felt kind of sorry for yesterday with whatever the turn, with as far as with out there yesterday, right? Now, I saw now with leadership, I saw with Mr.
Hold on. You telling me that you go out there and you see ministers sitting down under the tent?
I
Or,
felt sorry for him.
or almost by himself, like nobody was checking for him.
No, it wasn't like that. It was him and a couple of people in the white nice school outfits in the streets.
But he
They
didn't
had
have
the
the
t-shirts on the table,
he didn't have the fanfare that you was used to.
but nobody wanted their t-shirts or hats or caps. I was trying to get people to go over there and get some white caps. They said they don't want those caps. You know, persons would go and they would do. You understand what I'm saying?
I know what
Everybody
you're saying. I
had
know
a
what you're saying.
buzz. He didn't have a buzz. He didn't have that buzz. He can win.
Hold on.
He can win, right?
I'm telling you the numbers that came out of Kalani based upon what people says to me is that there are two people who pull ahead. That's Michael for the FNM and Menace, the independent. These two people pull ahead. That's the information I received.
But the people who were sitting under the tent with them told you that first. Like I said, I don't know because the relationship that he has, you know, in Kalani, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just saying from what I saw. And I think persons too may not want to come out.
They ain't gonna show their support. There was a lot of things. There was a lot of things
that
that came out, and a lot of people who refused to put information out there. But there were some people who say you know, it's interesting. I didn't see a lot of people wearing this color or that color, but it's gonna be interesting.
No, there are like some colors or whatever like that, but not the way you would think. Now, when we went up in by the Sea Breeze area, that was something to behold yesterday. But before I leave Kalani, Gavin Times, we were there and the same time I finished. My husband and I finished marking our X. We couldn't even leave because of the fact that the Prime Minister came and Mr. Christie was on his way out when we came in. A narrow whole corridor, and Mr. Prime Minister came in. And I can tell you no lie, even if the people were from either party or whatever, I mean, he was there. It held up everything. People were greeting him, and the reception that he got.
Oh, Christine?
Yesterday.
Who, Prime Minister Christie?
No, Mr. Davis. Prime Minister Davis.
Oh, Prime Minister Davis. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Christie voted before him, and by 7, and he came in afterwards. But we couldn't leave. We had to go. We had to turn around and go on the other side because he came in, and he got a really positive reception. And then we went up by Sea Breeze, that area, and he happened to come to watch his whatever motorcade. This came there as well.
So you was the part of why the road was so busy yesterday. You were moving from one pole to another pole.
I don't get on much.
I was in traffic all day.
But mind you, the flow of traffic wasn't bad, you know. It was just a regular day. Only when you go these areas. But Sea Breeze, he came there and it was like, I think Jamal Strawn and Leslie, I don't know if there's any other candidates in that area, but he was like mobbed. People taking pictures and everything with him. It's like he's such a popular, likable person. Mr. Davis, Prime Minister Davis, he really got a good reception.
Yeah.
And then we went up by H.O. Nash. And that was where a lot of traffic and a lot of goings on was happening there. And back at this disabled thing, you know, they brought people from, they had I think it was a disabled van. You actually had someone who could not they had to actually lift this gentleman up out of the wheelchair to take him in this van after him to mark his X and to place him in this disabled van to drive. I guess they had quite a few persons in there yesterday, and they came out and mark their X because they had and it's amazing. People want to complain about these things. They were saying that they went in the old folks home and they brought all the people of the old folks home out to mark their X. I don't care if you're 100 years old. That is your God-given right to do so. And these are the persons who appreciate what the sacrifices, and they were part of the sacrifices that allowed the 18-year-old to be able to vote in this election. So I don't want people to dismiss them or You understand? But
I
my
agree.
last point, and I'm talking to me, but Rick Fox, he's a disgrace.
I think he is. I don't think
He's
he's
a
much.
disgrace. And
I
he
don't
was
see.
he was
He come from a place where there's a lot of theatrics. But I tell you this: he hanging with certain crew that has a particular reputation already socially. Now, this is only through observation and what people say to me. I don't know these people. You understand? But I'm saying that if you bring a mindset with you because this is the operation of one geographical location, you expect that that's how we operate here. You are sadly confused, unfortunately, because the truth is that he doesn't know some things, and there is enough people around him to tell him, Rick, this is how this is go. This is how this is go. He's screaming and yelling at Carlisle yesterday. Carlisle,
no, but he, but with all due respect, he should have flung him. But I must be being harmful or being mean. But then he flung him. He should have landed over that barricade on a big mattress, those trampoline things to keep him safe. But when you agitate people and you rage bait and you encourage people with their foolishness and their nonsense, and you are part of the theatrics, when you get flung, you deserve to get flung. Rick Fox is being egged on by a lot of people around him. No one is willing to stand up to that man and tell him, no. This is not what we do. Listen, who does he think he is because the man cussed him? He's acting as if, how dare you curse me? And he launched at that man.
That's what the people put in his head.
And I don't know why that man did not go and file a complaint
That's what people
against
put in his
Rick
head.
Fox. I watched The Shade Room. I watched TMZ. I watched Hollywood Unlocked. I watched all of these different things on social media. The Bahamas is trending right now. Rick Fox on that thing, and he is talking a bunch of lies. He's lying to his teeth, and he doesn't understand. What he displayed yesterday, the bottom line with the news reports are, he is trying to explain away, and the Guardian, all of these places, media are printing out and playing the things that this man is saying after the fact, not and totally ignoring the video. I saw Candia James Vance this morning, and she outlined every Jesus thing in reference to the pool outrage yesterday, which she's rightfully did, right? But why didn't she do what happened with Rick Fox? I want Rick Fox to keep him and go back and actually take to let you watch and look at history where the fight with Code Smith and Kenyatta Gibson, that brought down a whole government.
Okay.
That incident,
He don't know that.
actions.
He don't know that.
No, but nobody need to let him know what he
But
did yesterday.
this is the problem you have when you allow novices without training. Okay, so the PLP decided to be able to institute something called the aspirants module, the training for those people who aspire, to make them to understand how you perform and what you do when you get in these particular capacities. The Free National Movement gave some sort of, some sort of projection of the same concept, but not necessarily the same thing, right? These people need to know how to act when they step in the public arena. Go ahead.
No, but you hear Mr. James, like he is very strong and he is angry and he is saying what he has to say. Sometimes Mr. Sands, Dr. Sands will say do the same thing. You see Pintard saying, doing and whatever. Have you seen any of these gentlemen?
They ain't gonna launch. They ain't gonna launch at nobody.
At you?
No,
or
they ain't
try
gonna
to
launch
catch
at
you, and
nobody.
then they can throw over their deputies.
And then on the
fling them
top
over
of
the
that, he
line.
tried to change the narrative and make it seem like the man said, well, something that wasn't recorded off camera. He said something and threatened my life. What threaten your life where?
You launch at me. You launch at me. I gotta go get something for you too. You understand? When you be careful when you write these checks, what your tail can't cash. And he have to remember as well and tell them to ask these people about Mr. Christie. Everything was going good in that campaign that year. The campaign was on a roll. Mr. Christie got on that thing in Fox Hill, and he put up the finger.
That was it for him.
Remember?
That was it for him.
It was over. It was over. So
that was it for him.
We went out just in a couple of stores, and the people were there say, Jesus, that's bad, eh? Say, you see what that man, you see how we carrying on?
That
So
was
he
it for
can
him.
try and he can see, but he see, that's why I say he doesn't know us. He may be a behavior, he doesn't know behavior.
That's
Because
it.
the way he's coming, like
Yeah,
he's
nobody
getting,
want to
like
hear
he
that.
trying to
That's the
get,
truth.
he coming on like this gutter, and this anger, this rage. We are not all like that. And some of us may act up, but we don't want to see you as we don't want to see that in the House of Assembly. If Pinta knows or whoever make him angry, if Mr. or whoever's on the
He
other
ready to
side of the
fight.
parliament,
He ready to fight.
I mean, he can climb over that thing up and whatever, and have to get dragged out there. No, man, he has to
I
check
agree with you.
himself. He coming out his face, all the spit, everything flying. His face looks so angry. No, man, that's unfortunate.
What do you say? The
No,
spit,
I
the
seriously,
spit was like.
no, but he need to just stop putting on the show. Be real, be you, and be decent. That's what I'm saying. That I mean, what example are we setting for our young men and all these young? Now you see, now he's a clown. Show all the people making comics, comedic skits. People laughing at him.
They laughing at him.
People laughing at him.
They laughing
he's
at him.
disgrace, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
Yeah.
you know, that's just
I appreciate you, Pat.
Say, take care. Have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you so much, Pat. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a part of the conversation, I'd love you to do so. Give me a call, 827-0111, 827-0111, 827-0111. I'm looking here for something from McAlpine, right? And let me check out McAlpine right now. Because I want you to see what I want you to see what he said. I want you to see what Mark said. He was on the news yesterday. They interviewed him. And he said something that was telling to me about his position and what was happening in that constituency down there. Now, I'm typing in McAlpine. Hold on now. Hold on. I'm sure I saved that. Hold on. I'm sure I saved that. I'm sure that I saved that. I watched it yesterday. I normally see these things and then I send it to my phone in preparation for this kind of discussion that we have, right? So I know I would have saved that and look back at it to see where it is. Oh, Lord, where are we? Where are we? Did I save it? Okay. I saved something with the tray. I saved something with Marvin Dames. Oh, Lord, I don't think I saved it. Somebody who have the McAlpine sitting down there, if you have that video, please send that to me. Let me look at it and see exactly what's what. Let me look at this one, see if I save it. Right? It was peculiar. He says it's telling, you know. It's very interesting. I always got to make Mark up. I got to see his voice. Mark, send me it. If you're listening, Mark, send me the video so I could be able to see it. Mark started to say something, and he was talking more specifically about his numbers. Well, that he's doing well or whatnot. And he said it's interesting that a lot of persons aren't wearing their clothes. Or interesting the support that persons get with shirts. But I'll say one thing, that shirts don't win election. And that was peculiar to me. It was peculiar that he said shirts don't win elections. It was peculiar to me that he said that. Why would you say that, Mark? This me, just trying to be able to. Why would he say that? Is it more PLP shirts than others? Why is he saying that? Why would he say that? You understand? And he said it made for interesting observation. Well, Mark, why would you say that? This is just me. This is just Howard, as I'm looking at this, trying to make a determination. I'm looking, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I had it. I was looking for it. I had it. But I don't see it. Let's look, see, I can keep on looking to see if I could be able to find that, but it's a peculiar thing, and I just be able to say this to you. I don't think that, I don't know how y'all can vote in Garden Hills. I'm not here to be able to say go with one person or the other. That's not what my spiel is. That's not my thing. That's not what my spiel is. That's not what my thing is, okay? I'm on air inside. I'll give you a call right now. I'll be off in a few minutes. Yeah, sorry about that. That's not my thing. Let's just be very clear and say about this. I'm disappointed in the Free National Movement because of its choice of Rick Fox. Nah, he already too far down the road. He already done too far gone to pull it back. The milk then spoiled. The bell then ring. All these particular things that already happened and whatnot. All these things already done. This is already done. Okay? Let's be very clear about this. Let's be transparent about this. There's nothing that we can do at this particular point as it relates to Rick Fox's position. Rick Fox is in this kind of a position. He doesn't know the politics locally. He doesn't. He doesn't. Now, when Ryan Pinder found himself in the position and allegations, speculations indicating that this white boy coming, and this is just the language that they used at the time. This is not me trying to be able to degrade him or anything. This is the language that they used at this particular time. This white boy coming over here, you don't even know if he's a Bahamian citizen or American citizen or who he is. He coming over here trying to be able to win. Boy, he can get his behind tear up, right? And the white boy beat Dwayne Sands first go round. He beat Dwayne Sands second go round. 2 times. 2 times this white boy, very dismissive in being able to identify him in that particular caliber, in that category. He beat him twice. Bang, bang. And then he say, he can't beat me no more. He retired. He retired. Hello? He retired. Okay? Now, the difference between Ryan Pinder and Rick Fox is that Ryan Pinder was coached to an understanding, and I think he developed himself in a particular manner that you saw a particular caliber of human being coming out of him. Okay? He understood politics. He understood people. He understood his position. He understood that this was for observation, for absorption, and not necessarily for a reaction. He didn't put himself in this reactive position. He didn't do that. He wasn't here for theatrics. He was here for winning. Rick Fox is a man of the world. Rick Fox is a showman. Rick Fox is an actor. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that we would have seen actors. We've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger in his particular capacity moving towards that. We've seen this current president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, moving towards that. Zelensky out of... where Zelensky is again? Iran? No, that ain't Iran. Anyway, wherever is Zelensky from, Zelensky is an actor also. When you identify Ronald Reagan, he's an actor. This is not the first time we would have seen actors in politics, right? But every actor has had a script. Everyone. Reagan knew what his script was. Zelensky knew what his script was. Trump understands what his script is. Even if you write that script yourself, this is what the expectation is. Rick Fox has no script. Can I say that? Rick Fox has no script. Rick Fox has no script. As a result of him having no script, he is really ad-libbing a great deal of these particular things. You could see that. He's looking for information. He's looking for these particular things. And any person who is walking with him would know, let me set this up for Rick. And then go through the scenes. But you haven't done that. And so he's responding to you and reacting to you like this is a Tyler Perry movie. And this is not a Tyler Perry's movie. This requires more coordination. This requires more synchronicity. This requires more grace being exposed and presented. He's out here ad hocing and ad libbing this position like he is I don't know, on one of them YouTube movies. This is not is accepted. This is a not. We don't accept this foolishness. And then to be able to call us bully, there is nothing that Bradley Kemp did or anyone that I've identified from these particular things to be able to state that they would have done something wrong in the interim. I don't know about their reaction. I don't know what they said as a result of being able to do these things. But I could say to you with clarity and with understanding, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that I would have seen when they said, hey, listen, man, you should have known I had my vehicle here. I was only waiting for the fella to come down here and do these things. And then, oh, is that law? What do you mean if that's law? Bro, I explained to you that I was already strategically in this particular position. Listen, nothing I hate more than you in Saltgrass waiting for, you didn't ride around Saltgrass 68 times. Looking for a parking lot to get close into, I don't know where y'all is going, close to JCPenney, close to the food mart, like that. We just go around that area, right? We didn't ride around in the middle of the day. We just, because, we didn't come from IHOP or Denny's or something like that, right? And now we get shopping. You had to go shopping on the full belly. This is important stuff. We shopping, we getting around 875 degrees outside. The sun beating down on top of your car. All you get is, what is this? That's the sun. And that's how hot it is. We riding around looking for something. We finally find something. We drive behind somebody as they walk towards their car. We drive behind them. We park and put the hazard lights on, waiting for them to get in their car and scooch out. They reverse in a peculiar manner, would stop you from kind of swooshing in there quickly. And as a result of that, somebody else, bang, take your spot. They could see you. You understand what I'm saying? Like you, beep, 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 hey. I was just getting there. You know how long I've been waiting here? I've been waiting here for 7 minutes. This woman then feed the children, breastfeed the children, all these things like that. Be sitting here waiting for them to get out of their spot. And you can just swoosh in there like that. Row. Big row. And essentially, if you equate it in that manner, he's asking, yeah, but did I do something wrong? Is it against the law to be able to take a parking slot? Man, come on, man, you don't have common courtesy and ethical, this kind of an ethical behavior to know how to act in these areas? You don't ask me if it's legal or illegal to take a slot. I told you I was sitting here waiting. Why you can't go find another space? Now you're going to make it like it's a problem. TMZ and everyone around the world. I tell you, he better pray to God he win. Listen to me. He better pray to God. He better pray to God that he wins. Rick Fox got to pray to God that he wins. Why, Howard? You know why? Because he didn't tell the people they got $469 million. They come in for 50% of that, taxes. Whatever you owe Vanessa, they come in for some of that. If you have any children that need to pay child support, they come in for some of that. Whatever this, and if it's fraudulent, they identify that he ain't got that, that's even worse. The Prime Minister has already released information indicating that he had 10 acres and he didn't produce anything over the past X amount of years after they would have made this agreement with him. This is going to be bad for Rick Fox. Pretty Ricky gonna have a problem. Because he is high profile. Globally. High profile. His defeat may not rattle his cage, but it may put him in sort of that striking zone for persons to kind of come after him. Because all of your information has been released during this time. That's the show today, guys. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to tune in with us right here on The Foundation as we continue to be able to jam with you all across the country. This is the time, man. I know Monday we're getting deep into this thing. You should hear some commercials on Monday for some people. Over the weekend, I should be able to convince a few persons to be able to do some stuff. And so this is the last hurrah. On Monday, you're going to have 10 days before the thing over. 8 days. Because on Tuesday is 7. Monday, you got 8 days to be able to show yourself real. So we're going to look at these things and make a determination of the next steps that we could take and make this look good, right? Right? Somebody text me and say, Howard, that's a big movie. Big movie. Let's see if we can read this text before we get out of here. Big movie for Tyler Perry. So I want to be in it. This is a text they put in this. I want to be in that, right? There's something else, right? So Howard Christie do two things that night. You see, he put the finger up, and then he went on the mic and cut out. And then he said that God can't stop him now. I remember that. I give God praise that he's still with us, because you know how we continue to be able to elevate the things that is happening from a godly standpoint. When we saw that was an abrasive thing, and we couldn't believe those things were happening. But we can have a great time and more time to be able to talk about it as we continue to be able to wind down. Guys, check me out now. We're going to do Foundation Prime Time as we do these things. I want to thank you guys so very kindly for being able to tune in with us right here on 103.5 FM in Grand Bahama, all over YouTube, foundation242.com, Foundation242 on all the platforms. Thank you, my brothers and sisters, for being able to tune in with us. We will see you again next time on Monday, God's Spirit, right here on The Foundation.